Hello friends, now in this lecture we'll revise the polynomial. So let us see the basic about polynomial, okay, how to identify the polynomials. Okay, the very first thing, in any expression, any algebraic expression in which you find the power or the exponent of the variable is in, first of all, should be in the numerator with a and its power or exponent should be whole number. For example, if I write px is equal to x square plus 3x minus 5. So I'll say this is a polynomial because here power of the variable, first of all the variable is in the numerator. Okay. Second thing, the power of the variable is a whole number. Then we'll say it's a polynomial. Now, if I say px is equal to x root 2 minus x cube, this is again a polynomial because over here power of x is 1, over here power of x is 3, and both 1 and 3 are polynomial, sorry, 1 and 3 are whole numbers. Now if I write px is equal to x cube plus root x, so this is the polynomial. Why? Because over here power of x is 3 and root x means, you know, that is x raised to 1 by 2, and 1 by 2 is not a whole number, so this is not a polynomial. Now if I write py is equal to y cube plus y raised to minus 1 plus 7. So this is again not a polynomial because over here power of the variable is not a whole number. Now if I say q of y is equal to only 7, let be the 7. This is a polynomial. Why? Because here I can write 7 as 7y raised to 0, and 0 belongs to whole number. So this is a polynomial. Simply we have to check the power of the variable. If it is a whole number, first of all it should be in the numerator. All the terms or variable should be in the numerator, and then we'll do check whether the power of the variable is whole number or not. Suppose I give you example, qx is equal to x cube plus x square plus 1 upon x. So if you directly see the powers, here it is 3 whole number, here it is 2 whole number, here it is 1, isn't it? So you may say that it's a whole number, definitely, but as I told you, variable must be in the numerator. So if I write this variable in the numerator, I will get something like this, and definitely this minus 1 is not a whole number, so I will say this is not a polynomial. Okay, so here we see how to identify the polynomial. Now next we will see the degree of polynomial. Okay, degree of polynomial degree of polynomial is the maximum power of the variable. If an algebraic expression is a polynomial, then maximum power of the variable is called the degree of polynomial. Okay, degree of polynomial. This is the second thing we'll going to see. Degree of polynomial. That is, in short, I do write maximum power of variable. Okay, in an algebraic expression, if it is a polynomial, then maximum power of the variable is known as degree of polynomial. For example, let us see these examples. First of all, we'll identify whether it is a polynomial or not. Yes, it is a polynomial and maximum power of the variable is 2. So here we'll write degree is 2. Here the degree of the polynomial is, we'll write degree of px is 2. Okay, over here degree of polynomial is 3. Okay, because here power is 1, here power is 3, and among 1 and 3, 3 is greater, so degree is 3. Over here this is not a polynomial. If the algebraic expression is not a polynomial, we won't discuss about its degree. This is not a polynomial because here power of variable is not a whole number. Root x means x raised to 1 by 2. Now over here again this expression is not a polynomial, because you can see the power of the variable is not a whole number. Yes, this is a polynomial. Now what is the degree of polynomial over here? See, here it is 5. So suppose I make it 4 and I make it 5, this, then what will be the degree of the polynomial? 4, not 5. Why? Because it is 0 into x raised to 5. This term is written just to make you confused. 0 raised to anything is 0. Actually this term is not over here. Okay, so as the term is not over there, the degree or the power, maximum power is 4. So degree of this polynomial is 4. Okay, so that is about degree of polynomial. Now next we will see the classification of polynomials. That means we'll see a type of polynomials. In short, we'll see the type of polynomials. Classification of polynomials. Okay, so first we saw polynomials. Okay, let me write over here. First we saw the polynomial, that is basic definition. Then degree of polynomial. Now we'll see classification. Now classification, type of polynomial. So polynomials can be classified or can be divided into two categories. First will based on degree and another is based on number of terms. So based on degree, if I say based on degree, the very first polynomial will say is linear polynomial. Okay, linear polynomial, a polynomial with degree 1. Okay, so I'm writing in short, polynomial whose degree is 1 is called linear polynomial. Okay, degree 1. Okay, now example or standard form of linear polynomial is ax plus b. Okay, or better to write px is equal to ax plus b, where a is not equal to 0, a and b belongs to real number. Okay, a is not 0 and a comma b belongs to real number. Px is equal to ax plus. This is the standard form of the linear polynomial. That means there must be a term containing variable, that is x, and there must be a constant number. I won't say must be a constant number, but in a standard form we'll say there should be a constant term. So examples, I can write x plus 2, okay, minus x plus 3 by 2, okay, root 2x minus pi. All these are the examples of linear polynomial. The way to identify the degree that we saw right now. Maximum power. So here maximum power of variable in these three examples is 1. So we'll say it's a linear polynomial. Now next is quadratic polynomial. Next is quadratic polynomial. Its degree is 2. Okay, degree of quadratic polynomial is 2. Example or standard form is ax square plus bx plus c. Okay, this is the example or the standard form of the quadratic polynomial. Here again a should not be equal to 0. That means leading coefficient. This is also known as the leading coefficient. See, these all are the coefficient. Here coefficient of x is b, coefficient of x square is a. So this is the leading term. So a is known as leading coefficient. A is not 0. Also a comma b comma c belongs to real number. Now why I'm saying a should not be equal to 0 even over here? See, if I make a 0, that means coefficient of x square 0, then I can say this term won't be there, 0. So in that case I will say this starts from bx. Polynomial remains bx plus c. And in that case maximum power of the variable will be 1, and hence in that case this polynomial won't be quadratic, rather it will become a linear polynomial. Okay, based on the degree. So leading coefficient should not be equal to 0. Now let us see some examples. standard form, if I write 3x square minus 5x plus 4, or simply I can write x square minus 9, or I can write simply x square, okay, minus y square by 3. All these are the quadratic polynomial. What we have to see, the maximum power of the variable must be 2. If it is, then we'll say the given polynomial is a quadratic polynomial and degree is 2. Okay, now after this, next is cubic polynomial. Okay, next is cubic polynomial. Cubic polynomial, that is a polynomial with degree 3. A polynomial whose degree is 3 is called cubic polynomial. Standard form is ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d. Again, leading coefficient, that is a should not be equal to 0. Also a, b, c and d belongs to real number. They should be the real number. Okay. Again, what happen if I make a0? If I make a0, this term won't be there, and I will left with this, and this, in this polynomial the degree of the variable is 2, and hence it becomes a quadratic polynomial. Okay, so a should not be equal to 0. I can make b, c and d all 0, doesn't matter. So let us see example. So first example I do write of the standard form, I can write in that way as well, x cube plus x square plus x plus 1. This is a cubic polynomial. The only thing to identify a polynomial is we have to check the degree of the polynomial. That means we have to check the, sorry, yes, we have to check, first of all definitely we have to check whether it's a polynomial or not, and then definitely its degree. Okay, on the based on degree we can say, as the degree is 3 or the maximum power of the variable is 3, this is a cubic polynomial. X square, not x square, 2x cube minus 3 is also a cubic polynomial. Okay, 3x cube minus 7 or 3x square minus 7. See, this is the classification based on degree. There is one more classification that is based on number of terms. I hope you know monomial, binomial and trinomial. So here I can say this is cubic binomial. Okay, definitely after this I will come to the classification based on number of terms, but in short we can say binomial that contains two terms. Actually that is the only explanation. Monomial that contains one term, binomial that contains two terms, trinomial that contains three terms. If it contains more than three terms, we'll simply say it's monomial. So here it has two terms, so it's a quadratic binomial. It has three terms, so it has, sorry, it is cubic binomial. This is cubic trinomial. Okay, and simply if I write x cube or minus 7 upon 4x cube, so this is a cubic monomial. Okay, so that is cubic polynomial. Now next is biquadratic polynomial. Biquadratic polynomial. Now names itself says, see, bi means 2 and quadratic, just right now we saw it has degree 2. So 2 into 2 or 2 plus 2, degree 4. A polynomial having degree 4 is called biquadratic polynomial. Now standard form of biquadratic polynomial is ax raised to 4 plus bx cube plus cx square plus dx plus e. This is the standard form of the biquadratic polynomial. Okay, here if I again, a should not be equal to 0, a, b, c, d and e belongs to r. Okay, now you will say, see, definitely a belongs to r, but other than 0, anything it can attain other than 0. Again, if I make a 0, this term won't be there, and in that case this will become a cubic polynomial. Now if I write examples, so x raised to 4 plus 2x cube minus 3x square plus 4x plus 5. This is a biquadratic. simply I write x raised to 4 minus 1. This is again biquadratic. Okay, this is I can say biquadratic binomial. I can write 3x raised to 4 minus x square plus x. This is biquadratic trinomial. Okay, if I write minus x raised to 4 minus 3 x cube plus 1, this is again a biquadratic trinomial. Okay, so simply we have to take care of this, that x raised to 4 term must be there. Remaining terms, whether you write or not, definitely it will be biquadratic. So after this biquadratic, see we started from degree 2, then degree 3, then degree 4. Now if a polynomial has degree 5, then it does not have any special name. We'll simply say it's a polynomial of degree 5. Now there might be a polynomial of degree 1 or degree 0. So now we'll see those two polynomials. So next is constant polynomial. Constant polynomial. Now constant polynomial degree 1. Sorry, degree 0. Constant polynomial degree 0. See, standard form px equal to a. That's it. That means power of the variable will be 0. Again, a should not be equal to 0. For example, if I write px is equal to minus 7 upon 2, it's a constant polynomial, because this further can be written as minus 7 by 2 into x raised to 0. So here you can see the maximum power of the variable is 0. So degree of this polynomial is 0. Okay. Another example, if I write qy is equal to 19. This is again a constant polynomial. Here I can write 19 into y raised to 0. This should not be 0. I can't write qy equal to 0, because if I write so, then I will get another polynomial, and that polynomial is 0 polynomial. So next one is 0 polynomial. 0 polynomial. Now 0 polynomial, simply in a constant polynomial, if constant becomes 0, then it is called 0 polynomial. So this is the 0 polynomial. Now what about the degree of 0 polynomial? What about the degree of 0 polynomial? So for that, always keep this in your mind, that degree of 0 polynomial is not defined. Why so? That I will tell you. First, take this. Degree of 0 polynomial is not defined. Degree of 0 polynomial is not defined. Why so? See, here I am writing px is equal to 0. Okay, that means I can write px is equal to 0 into x raised to 2. Also I can write the same thing, 0 into x raised to 3. Also I can write 0 into x raised to 7. Also I can write that thing as a 0 into x raised to whatever I will write. Okay, that means this is px equal to 0. Now this can be represented in all these form. Okay, so if I see this, here it says degree is 2. Here it says degree is 3. Here it says degree is 7. Degree is 9. Even though I can write it 0 into x raised to 99, 0 into x raised to 1000. So that means this can be represented in infinite ways, and in each way we'll get different degree. So its degree is not fixed. So that's why we'll say its degree is not defined. So degree of 0 polynomial is not defined. Okay, so this is all the classification based on degree. Now next classification, in short, we will see based on number of terms. Based on number of terms. Okay, based on number of terms. So it's very easy. The first is monomial having one term. Okay, I'm giving you in short having one term. Now second is binomial having two terms. Third is trinomial having three terms. Simple. Okay, a polynomial having one term is called monomial, having two terms is called binomial, having three terms is called trinomial. Now we'll see examples. Suppose I want to write a polynomial, a quadratic monomial, a quadratic monomial. So this is the quadratic monomial. It has one term, it's a quadratic. Okay, now if I want to write a quadratic trinomial, quadratic trinomial, so x square plus 5x plus 7. Now if I want to write biquadratic binomial, biquadratic binomial, so biquadratic x raised to 4 binomial, so I'll add any other term. So simply number of terms gives you the different names. One term gives you name monomial. If there is two terms in the polynomial, it is called binomial. If there are three terms, then it is called trinomial. So here the classification gets over. Now next we will see the zero of polynomial. Okay, next we will see is the zero of polynomial. Or before I move to the zero of polynomial, we'll see the value of polynomial. Okay, value of polynomial. And the next is, okay, over here. Next is value of polynomial. Now what is the meaning of value of polynomial? Suppose value of polynomial is value obtained by replacing the variable by a constant. For example, if I say if px is equal to x square minus 3, then find the value of polynomial at x equal to 3. Find the value of px at x equal to 5 for a while. Then this is called the value of polynomial. So value of this polynomial at x equal to 5 is obtained by replacing the variable by that constant. So I will say p5 or p of 5 is equal to 5 square minus 3, 25 minus 3, that is 22. So value of polynomial, that means what we have to do, we have to replace the variable by a constant given in the question itself. Okay, so let us see one or two question. Find the value of px at indicated values. Okay, in this first one, px is equal to x cube minus x square plus 5x, x equal to 2, x equal to minus 2. Second is qy or qx, okay, let it be px equal to x raised to 4 minus root 2 x cube minus 2 root 2 at x equal to root 2 and x equal to minus root 2. Okay, so try for a while that how you will get its solution. Then I will tell you how to solve, and then we come to the next concept. Okay, now we'll see their solutions as well as I will tell you the next concept. So here we have to find the value of this polynomial at x equal to 2. So it's not that much difficult. Simply what you have to do, you have to put x equal to 2. So p of 2 is equal to 2 cube minus 2 square plus 5 into 2, that is 8 minus 4 plus 10, 18 minus 4, 14. Okay, then p of minus 2. So this will become minus 2 cube minus minus 2 square plus 5 into minus 2. So here it will become minus 8 minus 4 minus 10, that is minus 22. Okay, simply what you have to do, you have to replace a given value of the variable at the place of the variable. Okay, so this is the p of 2, p of minus 2. Okay, now in this p of root 2, p of root 2 is root 2 cube minus 2 root 2, that is, now root 2 cube is actually 2 root 2 minus 2 root 2, that is equal to 0. Okay, now p of minus 2 root 2, so minus root 2 cube minus 2 root 2, so here you will get minus 2 root 2 minus 2 root 2, that is minus 4 root 2. So these are the values of the polynomial at values indicated. Okay, this is the way to find the value of a polynomial. Now sometime they won't ask you that find the value of polynomial at the given value. They simply ask for px is equal to x square minus 4, find p of minus 1, p of 2. So p of minus 1 is the value of polynomial at x equal to minus 1. P of 2 is the value of polynomial at x equal to 2. So p of minus 1 over here is minus 1 square minus 4, that is 1 minus 4, that is minus 3. And p of 2 over here is 2 square minus 4, that is 4 minus 4, that is 0. Okay, so this is all about value of polynomial. Now next we'll get 0 of polynomial. 0 of polynomial. Now what is 0 of polynomial? In short, I can say that value of variable or that value of x or y for which polynomial becomes 0. Okay, for example, over here if I see this one and if I see this one here, not this one actually, this one. Okay, here at x equal to root 2, the value of polynomial becomes 0, isn't it? Similarly, over here at x equal to 2, the value of polynomial becomes 0. So I will say root 2 is the 0 of the polynomial px, whatever it was. And over here I will say 2 is the 0 of the polynomial x square minus 4. Okay, that value of variable for which polynomial becomes 0 is called 0 of polynomial. Now here what we did, we put the values of x and then we get to know that at this particular value polynomial becomes 0. Now suppose if I say that find the 0 of polynomial, that means find that value of x for which polynomial becomes 0. For example, if I say I have px is equal to x square minus 4x plus 3. Okay, so now if I say find the 0 of polynomial, so the one way is that if I put p1, first I find p1, so 1 minus 4 plus 3, so here it becomes 0. Then I find p2, in that way I will get the values. So here it was a matter of luck that I got the 0 in the first attempt. But suppose here it is 2x square, here it is 9, then it is not necessary that even though you will get these integers or the whole numbers as the 0 of the polynomial. Then how to determine the polynomial? Because if I want to get the zeros of polynomial by putting the values, then there is a infinite ways. There are so many values by which I have to check the value of polynomial. So there must be a way by which we should be able to find the zero of the polynomial directly. So now we'll see how to find the zero of polynomial. Suppose the polynomial is x square minus 9. So to get the zero of the polynomial, what we do, we equate the polynomial with 0. So for 0 of the polynomial, x square minus 9 equal to 0. So here I can write x square minus 3 square is equal to 0. So x plus 3, x minus 3 is equal to 0. I applied the identity of a square minus b square. So I can say x plus 3 equal to 0. See here the product of two quantities is 0. So either the first one will be 0 or the second one will be 0. That means x will be either minus 3 or x will be 3. So these are the two values, these are the two values, um, or these are the two values which will say are the zeros of the polynomial. You can check it. If you put x equal to minus 3 over here, this will become 0. If you put x equal to 3 over here, again it will be 0. So 0 of the polynomial means that value of variable for which polynomial becomes 0. So here there are two values. Now let us see one more example. Suppose I have px is equal to 2x minus 9. Now I have to find 0 of the polynomial. So what I will do, I will equate the polynomial with 0. So 2x minus 9 equal to 0. Okay. So that gives me 2x equal to 9, and hence I will get x equal to 9 by 2. So x equal to 9 by 2 is the 0 of the given polynomial. Okay, let me take one more example. Suppose p of x is equal to x square minus 4x plus 3. Okay, now I have to find the 0 of this polynomial. So for this you must know the factorization. Okay, you have to, in other words we can say I have to find the value of x. So I will apply the splitting the middle term over here. I have to find the factors of this, and that we saw in our previous lecture or previous chapter. So here I can write x square minus 3x minus x plus 3 equal to 0. X is taken common, x minus 3, minus 1 is taken common, x minus 3 equal to 0. So x minus 3, x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 1. So these two are the zeros of the polynomial. If you put x equal to 1 over here, you will find it is 0. See, 1 plus 3, 4, 4 minus 4, 0. If you put 3, this will become 9 minus 12 plus 3. 9 plus 3, 12, 12 minus 12 is 0. So this is the way to find the 0 of a polynomial. Okay, now after this 0 of a polynomial, now let us see one more question related to this particular concept. Okay, sometime you may get a question in this way that if 2 is the 0 of the polynomial, question is if x equal to 2 is a 0 of px is equal to x cube plus kx square plus x minus 2, then find the value of k. Okay, x is a 0 of this polynomial and you have to determine the value of k. So what we will do, see, x equal to 2 is a 0. So I can write, p of 2 must be 0, isn't it? Because x equal to 2 is a 0. That means if we put x equal to 2 in this, we should get 0. That means p of 2 must be 0. That means 2 cube plus k into 2 square plus 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. This will cancel out. 8 plus 4k is equal to 0. 4k is equal to minus 8, and hence k equal to minus 2. So in this way we will find the value of unknown if this type of condition is given. Okay, now next is the remainder theorem. Okay, or let us see one more question related to this. See, here it was only one variable involved. Now sometimes you get a question in which two variables are involved. That means question will be something like this, that if x equal to 2, okay, if x equal to 2 and x equal to 1 are uh, are zeros of zeros of mm, ax square plus bx plus 6, okay, are zeros of px is equal to ax square plus bx plus 6, then find the value of a and b. So x equal to 2 is a 0 of px, so I can write a into 2 square, or in other words I can write p of 2 is equal to 0, isn't it? It is given x equal to 2 is 0 of this. That means p of 2 must be 0. That means a into 2 square plus b into 2 plus 6 is equal to 0. That is 4a plus 2b plus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, now if I divide throughout by 2, I will get 2a plus b plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, also it is given x equal to 1 is a 0 of px, isn't it? So I can say p of 1 is also 0. X equal to 1 is a 0 of this, so p of 1 equal to 0, so I can say a plus b plus 6 equal to 0. Now by solving these two equations you can get the values of a and b. Okay, so I just gave you one more type of question. Now next concept we'll see is remainder theorem. Okay, next is remainder theorem. Okay, here just I am giving you the different type of questions as well as the concepts. Okay, so next is remainder theorem, or before remainder theorem, let me tell you the long division method. Okay, long division method to divide a polynomial by another polynomial. We'll see one example of this. Okay, then we come to the remainder theorem, long division method of dividing a polynomial by another polynomial. See, long division method of dividing a polynomial by another polynomial. Okay, in that two things you have to understand. Uh, First of all, suppose we have to divide px. Okay, I am giving you a question directly. Divide px by gx. Okay, hence find qx and rx. Hence find qx and rx. So this we have to divide px by gx. Qx is quotient polynomial, rx is remainder polynomial. So the two things that you have to keep in your mind, that px must be in its standard form as well as gx must be in standard form. That means dividend polynomial as well as divisor polynomial. The polynomial whom which we have to divide and the polynomial by which we will divide the given polynomial. Both must be in standard form. Now what do you mean by standard form? That means they should be in the decreasing order of the degree of their terms. Okay, let me give you one example to make you understand in a better way. Suppose we have a px is here. Suppose I am taking px is equal to 3x cube minus x square. Okay, 3x cube, okay, minus x square plus 3x cube. Okay, then plus 1 minus 3x, plus 1 minus 3x, and gx by which we are going to divide px is 1 minus 1 plus 3x. Okay, These are the two polynomials. Now we'll see how to perform the long division method to divide a polynomial by another polynomial. So as I told you that first of all, the both polynomial, the dividend and the divisor, okay, must be in standard form. Standard form, that means they should be in the decreasing order of their degrees. So here you can see the degree of this dividend is 3, but it is written as a second term. So first of all, I will write it in a standard form. That means I do write 3x cube, then minus x square, then minus 3x plus 1. Similarly, over here I do write 3x minus 1. Now I will start dividing. One thing more, for a while, suppose this is 3x square. Just for a while, it is 3x square. So here it should be 3x square. Now you can see after 3x square, here this is the term of x square, and after that there must be a term of x. As I told you, in the standard form, we should write the polynomial in the decreasing order of their degree. So after 2 there should be a term of power 1, but which is not in the given expression. So I do write 0x, and then I do write minus 1. Okay, so if there isn't any term missing while writing them in sequence in a perfect order, then we'll include that term by the coefficient 0. Okay, so here it is 3x, so I am writing it as it is 3x minus 1. Now we will see its division. So 3x cube minus x square minus 3x plus 1. Okay, so here 3x minus 1. Okay, so first term, to get the first term of the quotient polynomial, I will divide the first term of the dividend by the first term of the divisor. That means I will do this 3x cube upon 3x. So this gives me x square. So here I do write x square. Now I will multiply with this. So x square into 3x, that is 3x cube. X square into minus 1, that is minus x square. Now I will subtract. This will be minus and this minus become plus. When I subtract, the sign of each and every term in the second row will get interchanged. So positive become negative and here negative become positive. So I can cancel these two as well as I can cancel these two, because this is minus x square, this is plus x square. So now next two terms I will note down or bring down minus 3x. So again I will do the same thing. I will divide this minus 3x, that is the first term of the new dividend, by the first term of the divisor. That gives me minus 1. So here I do write minus 1. Now minus 1 into 3x minus 3x. Minus 1 into minus 1 plus 1. Again when I subtract, I will interchange the sign. Negative become positive, positive become negative, they will cancel out, and 0. So ultimately this is my quotient polynomial, and here I got remainder as 0. So this is my remainder polynomial. Okay, so this is all about the long division. Now see, here we got the remainder as 0 by dividing. Now there is a way by which we can find the remainder without actually dividing, and that is known as remainder theorem. That means without dividing a polynomial px by another polynomial gx, we can find the remainder. The only restriction is that the polynomial by which we are dividing, that means the dividend polynomial, must be of degree 1. Not be of degree 2, or it should not be quadratic polynomial. Okay, so next is we'll see the remainder theorem. Okay, so remainder theorem. So simply let me tell you the one example remainder theorem. Okay, so question is find remainder. Okay, find remainder if px is equal to x square minus 7x plus 3 is divided by x plus 2. Okay, so how will apply this? What is the algorithm? How we have to proceed? So very first step, uh, let x plus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, first of all, what we'll do, we'll equate the divisor polynomial with 0 and we obtain a value of x or the variable from there, that is minus 2 in this case. This is the first step. We'll equate the divisor polynomial with 0, we'll obtain the value of x. Now remainder is, now Rx is p of minus 2. That means whatever is the value of x, we'll find the value of polynomial at that value of x. Here I got x equal to minus 2, so I will obtain the value of given polynomial at this to get the remainder. So here I can say Rx is equal to p of minus 2, that is minus 2 square minus 7 into minus 2 plus 3, that is 4 plus 14 plus 3, that is 21. Okay, so this is the remainder. That means when we divide the polynomial by x plus 2, remainder will be 21. Okay, so that is the remainder theorem. Okay, let us see one more question related to remainder theorem. If find the remainder, no, find the value of x okay, the question is, if x plus 1 is the remainder, sorry, if x plus 1 is a factor, if x plus 1 leaves, sorry, if we divide px is equal to x cube plus x square minus 5 minus k, if we divide px equal to x cube plus x minus k by x plus 1, remainder is Rx is 3, find k. Okay, find k. If we divide px equal to this by x plus 1, remainder is 3, you have to find the value of k. So we know how to find the remainder. Okay, so we'll start. Let x plus 1 is equal to 0. This gives you x equal to minus 1. Now remainder must be equal to what? P of minus 1, but p of minus 1 is equal to 3. Okay, or in other words I can write but remainder is what? 3, isn't it? According to the theorem, if we divide px by x plus 1, this must be the remainder, p of minus 1 must be the remainder, but according to question remainder is 3. So I can say therefore p of minus 1 is equal to 3. So p of minus 1, that is minus 1 cube plus 1, sorry, plus minus 1 minus k is equal to 3. So here minus 1 cube is minus 1. Again here it is minus 1. Then minus k is equal to 3. Therefore minus 2 minus k is equal to 3. So minus k is equal to 5. So k is equal to minus 5. So this is the answer. Okay, the concept is simply remainder theorem. According to remainder theorem, remainder must be p of minus 1, and according to question remainder is 3. So by equating them we will get the value of unknown. Okay, so that was remainder theorem. Now let us see one more question related to remainder theorem. If it is given, if x plus 1 is a factor, if x plus 1 is a factor of, if x plus 1 is a factor of px equal to 2x square plus kx. 2x square plus kx. Then find the value of k. Okay, now here the thing that you should understand, it is given factor. See, simply if I say if 2 is a factor of 18, if 2 is a factor of 18, then what will be the remainder if we divide 18 by 2? But obvious, 0, isn't it? As it's a factor, remainder must be 0. If I say what will be the remainder if I divide 18 by 4? Definitely remainder will be 2. But if I say that um, if I divide 18 by 3, then remainder will be 0. That means if we divide a polynomial by its factor, remainder must be 0. So here I can write again x plus 1 is equal to 0, therefore x equal to minus 1. So now r of remainder must be equal to 0. Okay, here you can write in this way, uh, x plus 1 is a factor of px, therefore I can say r of x is equal to 0. Okay, or rx equal to 0, but rx is equal to p of minus 1, that is p of minus 1 equal to 0. Okay, according to remainder theorem, remainder is p of minus 1, but that is equal to 0. So I can say 2 into minus 1 square plus k into minus 1 is equal to 0. So 2 minus k is equal to 0. So I can say k is equal to 2. So here I got the value of unknown. So that is all about the remainder theorem. Now next we will see is the factor theorem. See, remainder theorem and the factor theorem are uh, very closely connected to each other. Okay, remainder theorem. Now next is factor theorem. Okay, now next we'll see factor theorem. As I told you, remainder theorem and factor theorem are closely connected to each other. See, in this way, if the remainder is 0, on dividing a polynomial by another polynomial, the remainder is 0, then uh, if I divide px by gx, if I divide px by gx and the remainder is 0, I will say gx is a factor of px in this way. If I divide 18 by 2 and the remainder is 0, I say 2 is a factor of 18. If I divide 99 by 11 and the remainder is 0, I will say 11 is a factor of 99, isn't it? So on dividing px by gx, if remainder is 0, I will say gx is a factor of px. So let us see one or two questions, some questions based on this, based on factor theorem. Okay, if x minus 1 is a factor of px is equal to x square plus k root 2, then find the value of k. Okay, x minus 1 is a factor of this. That means if we divide px by x minus 1, remainder will be 0. Okay, so x minus 1 is a factor of px, therefore p of 1 is equal to 0. Here you can say x minus 1 equal to 0 gives me x equal to 1. P of 1 equal to 0. So 1 square plus k root 2 is equal to 0. So k root 2 is equal to minus 1. So k is equal to minus 1 upon root 2. Okay, so if x minus 1 is a factor of px, then k, we have to find this. Okay, k equal to minus 1 upon root 2. Okay, so that is one question related to factor theorem. Now, if we combine these two theorems together, that is factor theorem and remainder theorem, then which type of questions we can get? Let us see one example. Okay, if px is equal to ax cube, if px equal to ax cube plus bx square plus bx square plus x minus 6 plus x minus 6 has a factor x plus 2, has a factor x plus 2, and 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 leaves a remainder 4, and leaves a remainder leaves a remainder 4 when divided by, and leaves a remainder 4 when divided by x minus 2. Find a and b. Okay, two informations are given. First, it is given when px has x plus 2 as a factor. X plus 2 is a factor of this. So in other words, I can say as x plus 2 is a factor of this, that means on dividing px by x plus 2, remainder will be 0. Okay, that means p of minus 2 will be 0. Further, it is given it leaves a remainder 4 when divided by x minus 2. That means px divided by x minus 2, then remainder is 4. That means p of plus 2 is equal to 4. So let us see its solution. Px has a x plus 2 is a factor of px. Therefore, p of minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, now let us solve this. P of minus 2 equal to 0. So it is a minus 2 cube. Here you can write x plus 2 is equal to 0. From here I got x equal to minus 2. Okay, how I got p of minus 2? By solving this, I got x equal to minus 2. So at that value, polynomial will be 0. So here I can write minus 8a plus 4b minus 2 minus 6 equal to 0. That is minus 8a plus 4b minus 8 is equal to 0. Okay, this is the first equation. Or if I simplify it further, what I will get? If I divide throughout by 4, so minus 2a plus b minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, this is the first relation I can say between a and b. Now further it is given on dividing px by x minus 2, it leaves a remainder 4. Okay, next I will write over here. Okay, px divided by x minus 2 gives remainder 4. Therefore, I can say p of 2 is equal to 4. Okay, now p of 2 equal to 4. Therefore, I can write 8a. Okay, 8a plus 4b plus 2 minus 6 is equal to 4. That is 8a plus 4b minus 4 is equal to 4. Now if I divide throughout by 2, so 2a plus 2b minus 2 is equal to 2, or 2a plus 2b is equal to 4. Okay, so these are the two equations, and by solving these two you will be able to get the values of a and b. So that is about the remainder theorem. Okay, so that is about the remainder theorem. Now next is uh, factorization of the polynomials. factorization of polynomials. So let us see how to factorize the polynomials by using these theorem, that is remainder theorem or the uh, factor theorem. Factorization. Although factorization is a very vast topic that we also discussed in the previous lectures, using the identities we can factorize, but here suppose we have to factorize, there is a expression or there is a polynomial which it is not possible to factorize by by taking common or by the and use of any identity, then what we have to do. So we'll see one example that how to factorize this. So let me take the example x cube minus 6x square plus 11x plus 11x minus 6. Okay, I have to factorize this x cube minus 6x square plus 11x minus 6. So definitely it is not possible to take common, or even though if you take the common you won't be able to factorize it. So the method is that first of all find the factors of the constant term. So here factors of constant term with both the sign. So I can write plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, plus minus 6. Now definitely one of these 8 values gives you 0. That means either p of 1 will be 0 or p of minus 1 will be 0, or p of 2 will be 0 or p of minus 2 will be 0, and so on. So let us see, if I find p of 1, this will be 1 minus 6 plus 11 minus 6. Yes, 11 plus 1 12, minus 12 plus 12 0. So here I got p of 1 is equal to 0. As p of 1 equal to 0, I can say therefore x minus 1 is a factor of px. Okay, I got one of the factor of the polynomial. Clear? First what we'll do, we'll find the factors of the constant term. Then one of that value or one of that factor definitely gives you 0. So here uh, I got the p of 1 equal to 0. So x minus 1 is a factor. Now as x minus 1 is a factor, it means if I divide px by x minus 1, the remainder will be 0. So now I will use the long division method. That means I divide this x cube minus 6x square plus 11x minus 6 by x minus 1. Now by doing so, what I will get? Here definitely I will get a quotient which will be a quadratic polynomial, and we know that a quadratic polynomial can be factorized further by splitting the middle term. That means that quotient or that quadratic polynomial gives you two more factors. One is this, so ultimately you will get the three factors. So let us divide this. So here I will get x square. Okay, so x cube minus x, sorry, here I will get x square, so x cube minus x square minus plus, this will cancel out. Here I will get minus 5x square plus 11x. So here minus 5x Okay, so minus 5x square plus 5x. Okay, so plus minus, this will cancel out. Here 6x minus 6. Here I will get 6. So 6x minus 6. So ultimately here it is 0. So here I can say px is equal to x cube minus 6x square plus 11x minus 6. Therefore px is equal to x minus 1 multiplied by x square minus 5x plus 6. Okay, these are the two. If I apply the division algorithm, dividend is equal to divisor multiplied by quotient plus remainder. Here remainder is 0. So here is the one factor. Now we can factorize this further by using the splitting the middle term. So here I can say this is x square minus 2x minus 3x plus 6. So P of x is equal to x minus 1. X is taken common, so x minus 2, minus 3 is taken common, so x minus 2. So here I'll get P of x is equal to x minus 1, x minus 2, x minus 3. So these are the factors. Okay, so over there, as it was not possible to apply any identity, also it was not possible to take common from first to and next to. So what I will do, I will find the factors of the constant term. Okay, in that way I will write its factors with both the signs. Then I will check the value of uh, polynomial at each and every factor. Definitely at one value I will get 0, and as I got p of 1 equal to 0, so x minus 1 is a factor. Suppose if I get p of minus 1 equal to 0, then x plus 1 will be factor. So I, in that way I will get the one factor, and for remaining two factors, because it's a cubic polynomial, so it might have at the max three factors, three linear factors. So for remaining two factors I will apply the long division. Here I will get a quotient in the form of a quadratic, and using the splitting the middle term I will get the remaining two factors of that quadratic polynomial, and hence I will get all three factors of that given polynomial. Okay, so here I am finishing this chapter polynomial. Now in next lecture we'll see next chapter that might be linear equation in two variables. So till then, bye, thank you, take care, stay at